What is up, everybody? This is Alex from IGTV. You got a friend in me. Today I'm talking about Pixar's Toy Story 5. We have 5 films deep. I guess I saw Toy Story 4. I don't remember a single thing about it. It existing was more of a bummer to me than 5 is. It's like, well, you crossed the Rubicon now. Make 100 of them for all I care. You had your perfect trilogy, and you just couldn't resist the easy $1 billion all of these films are guaranteed to make. Toy Story as a property has a very Nintendo kind of energy to it, where it's ingrained itself into multiple generations of kids. So the brand is kind of universally loved and everyone's obsessed with it, and it kind of allows them to coast in certain ways. Any franchise that is 5 films deep is going to struggle to come up with new angles or hooks or like anything to do when most of the main characters have already had arcs or entire movies dedicated to them. Like, there's nothing to do really with Woody anymore. Although he did look pretty fly in that poncho, I gotta be real. But Toy Story 4 was like the Woody movie, and this is the Jessie movie, which I got nothing against in premise, except, again, it kind of just coasts in a similar way to Star Wars does, just on member berries. And remember that thing? Remember that really emotional sequence in Toy Story 2, you remember that? And kind of weaponizing it in a unearned, manipulative way, where it's like they know that there's nothing to do outside of gimmicks. And what gave me more hope about the premise of this movie was this, we're going after tech and iPad parenting, which is a good idea. It could be an evolution on what the first film established, which is kind of similar in a way, and had kind of like a meta commentary on the film industry of like the out-of-date cowboy being replaced by the cool, flashy, high-tech, sci-fi gadget toy. And obviously maps over nicely onto the feelings of growing old, and there are just multiple points of empathy you can whip out from different ages of the audience and have a great character dynamic and humor underlining everything. But you quickly find out that the film basically has nothing interesting to say on the tech front. I did enjoy in the first act when they were establishing it as a threat, with Jessie interacting with all of these old abandoned toys that were kind of apocalyptic in their presentation. That was pretty funny. Also, while I have this character up, there are obviously some good character designs. They spent a hell of a lot of money making this, so it's extremely polished looking, and I liked how the tech characters had these details, like the way the eyes were animated were really cleverly done, and the same for the retro look of the Conan O'Brien character and the kind of older Game & Watch kind of looking calculator screens. I guess what you'd properly call it is a dot matrix LCD, very faithfully recreated in the movie. But this film is beautifully detailed in the same way like an end-user license agreement is, where it's like, this is correct. You've covered every base with this visually. You can see it from the screenshot, like it looks photorealistic with like the layers of paint and the chips and the reflections on the metal. It's ridiculous. But what does all of that matter if the story doesn't really speak to you, in which case it didn't for me. And I couldn't help but feeling like the iPad parenting tech angle was more for the parents in the audience, so you can kind of feel good about yourself, like, I don't do that. And isn't this an issue? But the film doesn't really present any solution to it, because obviously the main characters are toys, and how could they solve such an existential crisis such as social media companies changing human behavior at a base level, not just for children, but every age of person? Like, obviously the toys can't do shit about that. And the film's solution is to kind of just take a neutral stance. Tech can be used badly, but also it can connect people or something. And not to harp on this, but some of the way that the tech worked, especially with like these older characters that all kind of like link together and create this like network, was like very, do you understand how this works at all? It's really not that important, but like part of the Toy Story charm is that they're working in this fantastical universe where it is just real life, but toys are like sentient in the background and hiding in plain sight. And the way the script needs the tech angle to make the plot move is just kind of badly written and convenient, just for convenience sake. And you can say it's for kids, and sure. But the first 3 were way better structured in comparison if we're going to play that game. This film has like 3 main plot lines, an A, B, and C plot. The A plot being Jessie kind of winding up on the farm from the second movie. What the fuck? So you can kind of member bury the famous scene from Toy Story 2. The B plot is Woody and Buzz reuniting and trying to capture the charm of the kind of bickering they do from the first few movies. And the C plot is like 1,000,000 Buzz Lightyears are stranded on an island, and through one way or another get tangled into the main plot, which I thought started in kind of a funny, weird place. that I was curious to see where they were going to take it. And by the time the A, B, and C plot threads cross over into each other, it just didn't feel that satisfying to me, especially if we're considering those first 3 movies with the scale of some of the like set pieces and the crescendo of the way the movie moves, or the movies moved, was genuinely like Indiana Jones tier multi-arc action storytelling. Like especially in Toy Story 2, like the way that film builds up to that airport sequence is quite incredible. And it's so satisfying with like the way the music is complementing it. It's genuinely insane how good the storytelling is in that movie. And even then, the first film has some great set pieces too, with it all naturally building up to these really why don't I have good like... What am I doing? Yeah, I just threw myself off with that, with the lack of like. But while I think 2 is the best for the set piece stuff, there are great moments in the first movie. Obviously, the last sequence with the RC car and the firework and the falling with style. And the structure of 3 being this like prison movie parody escape movie has some really good jokes. And this poster kind of illustrates an issue I've had with Toy Story 4 and 5, where a lot of the greater cast of characters have just been sidelined since this movie, where they don't know what to do with them. They don't really know what to do with anybody. And one of the things that makes the original trilogy work so well is the way all of these supporting characters bounce off the main cast and provide kind of a foundation of humor too. Like, these are some of the funniest characters.
And you're angry-eyed.
So, where you from? Singapore?
And they've got like 1 line each, maybe, in Toy Story 5. Maybe that'd be okay to me if it felt like there was something truly compelling about what they were doing with the Jessie focus. But these old tech characters just didn't really do it for me. I just couldn't get the idea out of my head that the script just wasn't capable of acknowledging the tech problems. So it would just kind of both sides it a little bit and be like, well, there's always been tech and it's always been changing. So these kids' movies are basically what's keeping these cinemas alive. The 2 busiest screenings I've been to this year were for this movie and the Mario Galaxy movie. And despite how full it was and how many like little kids were in there was only 1 big laugh in the entire movie, which was to do with Buzz and a toilet. You know what I'm talking about if you've seen it. And that was with the new Conan O'Brien character literally existing to deliver shit jokes just again and again. And my anecdotal experience of like, there must have been a 10-year-old or something sat to my left, who, I'm not joking, was ironically on their phone scrolling about every 5 minutes throughout the movie. So it just kind of accentuated to me, God damn it, we've already lost this battle. And the more cynical side of my mind just kept winning out, because I bet you can buy one of these. I'm actually going to search that right now. What's it called? The Lily Pad. Here we go. Are you fucking serious? What can it do?
Whoa!
Right, they're trying to make it like a learning device. Yeah, you want your toys to train them to use iPads like nice and young, so whatever. This is crazy. I can talk about something I like that this screenshot's just reminding me of. The best part of the Toy Story movies is often when they do the imagination play scenes. And it's the only time in the movie where they're able to be silly and creative visually and with the purposefully over-the-top VO that they do for it. And it had this really nice kind of pastel look to it. And each time they did this, it was genuinely funny and charming. And the more I think about it, the more like every element is just kind of poached from the franchise. Like I already mentioned the Star Wars comparison, but it does feel like incestuous with the way it just references itself. And even the A Million Buzz storyline is like, well, we kind of already did this, right? And Toy Story 2, back when endless Star Wars references weren't done to death. So when they're doing the I am your father stuff again, it's just like, God damn it, man. Is this really what we want? It's just a snake eating its own tail until there's just no snake left? Like, I feel like I mention it every day at this point, but that Frank Zappa quote, it's just so true. Every IP this big and popular just becomes this zombie where they're trapped being so protective of the IP and knowing how sacred it is. So they don't take risks and they just make these boring, safe movies because it doesn't matter because everyone's going to see it because they already love the franchise so much that it makes $1 billion until people stop caring like Star Wars. But I could feasibly see like getting to the double digits of these movies because it's already breaking records. Everyone goes and sees it. Yeah, there we go. Record opening weekend for franchise. This will easily be one of the biggest films of the year. And I guess what annoyed me more was that I rewatched Hoppers just the other day and it's so much better. It's so much more original and weird and funny, and the humor is just so strange and unpredictable and different for them. And all the worst stuff about it are just kind of like the Pixar isms, but like Toy Story's nearly overtaken it in like one weekend. So yeah, I think it's just a tired franchise at this point. I had a couple laughs here and there, but a pretty flatlined emotional experience. I just can't escape the feeling they just feel like Disney Plus shorts, just kind of polished up and stitched together. Wish the scripts and stories could be a bit more inventive, but whatever. They don't need to be. So I'd give this just a straight down the middle, 2.5 star. Inoffensive, families will enjoy it. I'm sure everyone's going to be obsessed with this, but I'll never watch this again in the same way I'll never watch Toy Story 4 again. So let me know your thoughts on Toy Story 5. Did you enjoy it more than me? Are you hyped for Toy Story 6 and Toy Story 7 and Toy Story 8 and Toy Story 9 and Toy Story 10 and Toy Story 11 and Toy Story 12 and Toy Story